So hey guys, today I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing the Leagoo Venture 1. So firstly, let's just get the specs out of the way. It has a 5-inch 720p IPS display, along with a 1.3 GHz quad-core processor, a rear 13 megapixel camera and a front 8 megapixel camera, dual SIM support, along with 3 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of built-in storage, and a 3000 mAh battery inside. The phone is running Android 5.1, which means you're not going to get the latest features. However, if you look at the statistics, very few devices are on the latest version. The phone does come in some quirky colours such as crown red, midnight black and amber brown, and the model I have here is the amber brown variant. The phone very much reminds me of the phones made by Virtue, but they cost thousands of pounds, whereas this came in under 200. I'll include the Amazon link in the description box below if you'd like to go and have a look at the latest pricing and availability of this phone. From the outset, this phone just looked phenomenal. It was an incredibly refreshing break from the glass and metal slabs that we call smartphones today. Due to this phone running Android 5.1, there is no built-in support for the fingerprint scanner. Therefore, Leagoo have built in an app which allows you to take advantage of it. The sensor is an always-on one, which means you can wake the phone without even having to press any buttons. The sensor's accuracy was really high. It recognised my finger accurately about 90% of the time, which is quite similar to my iPhone 6s. Alongside the rear-facing fingerprint scanner, you also have the 13 megapixel camera. Right now you are seeing footage directly from the rear-facing camera. The camera is fairly shaky and the saturation isn't great. The white balance is very jumpy, as you can see, even though the amount of light is not changing throughout this scene. The image processing for the photos is much better than it is for the videos. The saturation levels are a lot better, with the grass being as vibrant as it is in real life, alongside the white balance being fairly good in auto mode. The focus was a bit jumpy when trying to do macro photography. This means you probably will have to tap to focus. The front-facing camera was meh. It claims to be 8 megapixels, but it's very grainy and the colours aren't completely accurate, so I would stick to using it for Snapchat, but don't expect anything great out of it. The next thing I want to talk about is the battery. There's a 3000 mAh cell inside here and it charges over micro USB. I found the battery life has been phenomenal, and this is probably one of its main standout points. The cell lasted days on end, and some of this is due to the fairly efficient processor inside. I do use my phone quite heavily, so this did need a quick recharge towards the start of the evening. The phone doesn't have any sort of quick charging technology inside, therefore it does take just under 2 hours to charge it from 0 to 100%. You can see there's quite a heavy skin on top of Android 5.1, but if you want to use the Google Now launcher or Nova launcher, it's easily installed because it is Android, you've got that flexibility. The skin is incredibly sleek and matches the phone perfectly. However, on the Android side of things, I do like to see an app tray. Instead, this has all of its icons and apps laid out on all of the various home screens. Even though the overall skin is quite sleek, the app icons aren't very good. I'd probably recommend getting an icon pack. The volume rocker, power button and headphone jack are all on the left hand side, which is a bit frustrating, as I always like to have my headphone jack either on the top or the bottom, as when you're putting it in your pocket it can damage the headphones otherwise. The display was okay, it did pretty well, but due to it not being laminated, the colours weren't as vibrant as they could have been. Talking about cellular performance, it was great on this phone. I was able to get really strong signal wherever I went, and there was a connection for that network. And especially as there's 2 SIMs, you can insert one for maybe phone calls and texts and the other for data. So as always, I conducted some benchmarks on this. So for Geekbench 4, I got a single core score of 611 and a multi-core score of 2538. with the Antutu score sitting at 37,016. This means the phone does have slightly better performance than the 2016 version of the Samsung Galaxy A5. My usual gaming performance test is Asphalt 8, however for some strange reason I couldn't download it onto this phone. Therefore I had to go with a slightly lower spec alternative, Asphalt Nitro, which did absolutely fine. I think maybe I saw one drop frame throughout the entire time I was playing the game, and overall the gaming performance is really good. I feel like this phone is aimed for somebody who wants to get away from the general trend of metal and glass on most smartphones, while also having a high level of security, as this phone claims it has bank level authentication. The phone also has some quirky features, such as the ability to run 2 Facebook accounts or 2 Twitter accounts with its dual app functionality. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review, and hopefully you'll take a look at the written review over on MobileTechTalk.